Every week, I watch the same thing happen. One man rewrites his entire life, and another man, same age, same problems, stays stuck asking the same questions he asked 6 months ago. And the crazy part is they both think they're doing the same thing, but they're not. And once you see the difference, you'll never look at another man the same way again.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Before we get into today's topic, I want you to think about this. In every men's group that I've been in, there is a moment when two guys start out at the exact same level, but one of them pulls ahead so fast that it looks impossible. And the other stays stuck in the same spot, confused about why nothing's improving. And there's a reason that gap blows wide open. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing it in every man you meet. And I'll break that down in a minute. I wanted to talk about this today because I've seen it over and over again for the past 5 or 6 years. Men who do the work, they read the books on repeat, they go out and practice, they find what works for them, they leave what doesn't, they swap notes with other guys doing the work, and all of them level up. Okay. I could probably count on one hand the men who did that in my 3% man group when I was in the 3% man group. It's now the 3% Brotherhood, but that's a dead group anyway. And they all ended up killing it, right? All those guys that did the work ended up killing it. Maybe two hands. But I'm seeing the same thing in my wolf pack. Recently, the charge has been led by Brother Omega, who's on a mission right now to read 6 or 7 books on repeat for the next 6 months. Brother Ed last night, or actually, I think it was the night before last, committed to reading Psychology Paradigm for an entire hour every day for the next month. Meanwhile, there's others in the group that just lurk. They're just lurkers. They don't participate. They aren't reading the books. They ask the same questions over and over again because they're looking for quick fixes. Okay. Which guy are you? Which guy are you? Let me ask you that. Which guy are you? Are you the guy who's studying this stuff and trying to program more effective paradigms up here? Or are you the guy who tunes into the occasional podcast and hopes for hacks and tricks? Okay. We're going to really get into it today. Before we do, though, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives when we do the work to do it. Okay. Now I mentioned it before, but I've noticed something over the years, right? A lot of men say they want results, but only a small percentage are actually willing to grind for those results. That's why the gap between the committed and comfortable keeps getting wider. And I was having a conversation with Nurse Chick about this the other night, maybe Wednesday night. And I was saying I had an idea for a book, right? Because Corey Wayne, one of my holy trinity of dating books is called How to Be a 3% Man. And in that book, and Corey didn't invent this, by the way, he stole this from Doc Love. A guy named Doc Love actually came up with the concept of a 3% man. But Corey's book, How to Be a 3% Man, Corey says that a person who's a 3% man is a guy who understands women, right? Understands what attracts women, that sort of thing, right? That there's only 3% of the world's population of men that actually understands women. And I think I'm going to write a book called What a True 3% Man Really Is. And it's going to be on the guys that do the work. A true 3% man is a guy that actually puts in the effort and does the work. And then becomes a guy that understands women, right? He's not out there just looking for quick fixes. Okay. By the way, guys, I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications, would you, if you haven't done so already. So there's this fantasy that watching clips or scrolling short videos is the same as growth. It isn't. Knowing about something like TikToks and reading people's comments in a forum or in a private group like Wolfpack, or watching the occasional podcast, it'll give you an idea. It'll give you an idea. So, but it's not going to fundamentally change your life. Okay. Doing the work does, though. Doing the work actually will change your life, because you're going to reprogram bad relationship habits. You're going to reprogram bad money habits. Like whatever it is that you're working on, you're going to fundamentally change that if you commit to doing the work. But just watching the occasional TikTok, trying to get the quick tip, like that's not going to change anything. In fact, you're going to take it, go, yeah, that sounds good. And you probably won't even apply it. Okay. There was one of my 3% brothers. I'm not going to name names here, but one of the original 3% brothers from the 3% Man Group. I don't think he tunes in, so it doesn't matter. He's been on the podcast before. He straight up told me that he doesn't read the book anymore, because he did read the book. He read it long enough to get into a relationship. He goes, yeah, I just watch the occasional TikTok now. That's good enough for me. I'm like, but he ended up in jail once because the woman that he ended up in a relationship with ended up filing false charges against him. He ended up in jail overnight because she was like, oh, he hit me or whatever, because he was going to kick her out of his house. Like he's not being a 3% man in his relationship, but he thinks just watching the occasional TikTok is good enough. Okay. But he has all these problems with this crazy ass chick. And if he truly did the work, he wouldn't even be in a relationship with that chick. Right. Anyway, back in the 3% Man Group, we reread the same material over and over again, because one of the things that Coach Corey Wayne taught was we only retain 10% of what we read or listen to. Okay. And that's when you read an entire book. You only retain 10% of that. How much are you retaining from a TikTok that you saw? I saw a video the other day where this guy was talking about the difference between long form content and TikToks or shorts or reels or whatever you're watching. And he goes, can you think back to yesterday and remember something fundamental you learned from a reel or a short or a TikTok? He's like, I bet you can't. I bet you can't. Because it's like a 30-second soundbite, and you probably scrolled and then continued with your dopamine addiction, and you didn't retain any of that, right? And if we're reading long-form content like books or listening to a podcast, and you're only retaining 10% of it, how much are you retaining from a 30-second soundbite? Fucking nothing, right? We're not are we? I can't see the timer on Restream is it's hidden behind the hashtag in my thing, so I can't see. But I think we are past the 8-minute mark. I think I might be okay, but just send super chats just in case I demonetize myself. Okay, but you only retain a small percentage of what you read or listen to. So if you're just looking for quick fixes and hacks, you're probably not even retaining that. Okay. So in that group, one of the things that Corey taught us from the book, actually, we were all just happening to study that stuff, is that you have to read the material 10 to 15 times to truly master it. Okay. And that's also something I learned from Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor read and reread Think and Grow Rich for 60 years to truly retain that information. He became a multimillionaire and taught that to millions of other people. Okay. But that's what doing the work looks like. It's not even that hard. Okay. If you throw it on an audiobook and go to the gym, every day, or on your commute, you play an audiobook, like that's all you have to do. But most guys aren't even willing to do that sort of thing. So let me ask you this. Are you the kind of guy that's willing to do that kind of work? Or are you out there just looking for quick fixes? Okay. Let me know in the comments. Be honest with yourself. What kind of guy are you? All right. Now, the guys who revisit the same lesson over and over again, they're not being obsessive. They're building an internal structure. Okay. They're imprinting the ideas until it just happens on habit. Like under pressure, that's when this stuff gets tested. Okay. If you're in a relationship and you're trying to fix your relationship and you're just trying to get quick tips and you ask the same questions all the time, in the moment, you're not going to be able to respond with instinct. Okay. And that's what we're trying to fundamentally do, especially if you want to level up and get better with women, which I assume you do, because that's why people tune into this podcast. Okay. They're trying to fix their relationships. They're trying to be better at dating or whatever. And if you want to be able to do this stuff on instinct without having to think about it, you have to do the work. One of the things that Bob Proctor, I said he read and reread Think and Grow Rich on repeat. One of the things that he realized when he all of a sudden he became a millionaire, right? It took him a couple of years, but he went from making $6,000 a year and owing $8,000 to being a multimillionaire with a business, a floor cleaning company that operated in 3 different countries. And he ended up with an operation in England, and he was at a casino just blowing his money, going, the money doesn't matter. I'll make more. It doesn't matter, right? But he was like, I don't know how I got here. How did I get here? And then he had this epiphany that one of the biggest catalysts of it was listening to Earl Nightingale's record, The Strangest Secret, on repeat. And The Strangest Secret is very much like a condensed version of Think and Grow Rich, right? But he was still also reading Think and Grow Rich. But he was listening to this record on repeat, and he realized that just listening to that on repeat fundamentally seeped into his subconscious mind and reprogrammed his paradigm when it came to money, and his life changed without even have to really do that much work. Okay. So then when he realized that, when he had that epiphany, he sold his business and went to go study under Earl Nightingale at the Nightingale Conant Company to figure out how this all worked. And that's really when he learned that the repetition is what changed his paradigm. Okay. So when a man commits to consistent practice, you can actually see it. It starts bubbling up. You start actually seeing it in their day-to-day. Okay. Like I mentioned before, Brother Omega from the Wolf Pack, he's reading these books like over and over again. He's already been doing it for like a month already. You can already see it. You can already see it in how he talks, how he communicates in the group. When he first joined the group, he was very hesitant. He wasn't very sure of himself. Now he's a very confident dude. You can just see it. And all he's done is just listen to these audiobooks and done the work. You know what I mean? Brother Ed has jumped on that bandwagon. He's committed to specifically reading Psychology Paradigm, my second book, on repeat for the next month. But he's already been listening to 3% Man and Atomic Attraction, my Holy Trinity, right? Dating Essentials for Men and No More Mr. Nice Guy. He's been listening to that, and you can already see it in Ed. Ed's doing the work. You can see it in these guys that are doing it. Okay. Because it fundamentally, when you change your what's going on up here, it changes everything else. Okay. I talk about it a lot, but our results in life come from our actions. Our actions come from our thoughts, and 95% of our thoughts are habit-based, right? They're based on subconscious programs that are running in the background that you're not even consciously thinking about. Like think about when you get up in the morning and take a crap and then go brush your teeth or whatever, or brush your teeth, then take a crap, whatever you do. Okay. But you typically have a morning routine that you're doing on autopilot without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? That's how you want to be when it comes to setting the tone and leading your relationships. And the only way to get there is to reprogram what's up here. And once you do that, you reprogram what's up here to have more of a dominant masculine presence. Your actions will change. Those will cause different reactions. Those different reactions will cause better results in your life. Okay. That's how it works. By the way, guys, I talk a lot about this in Keep Your Bitch. One of the things that we were talking about, we had the Wolfpack Hangout last night. We have a monthly video call where all the brothers get on the call and we all just shoot the shit, talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. And one of the things we were talking about when it comes to Keep Your Bitch is there's a ton of books out there to fix relationships. There's tons of books out there to get a girl. That's where all the dating books come from. There's very few on keeping a relationship going smooth for the long term. There's very few. And that's why I wanted to write Keep Your Bitch, because you have to be consistent. Because what most guys do is they will read dating books to get a girl, and then they think once they got her, that's all they have to do. and then everything falls to hell in a handbasket because of the betatization process. So then they get a book like Get Her to Fuck You Again, which is like, how do I fix this? I fucked it up, right? So Keep Your Bitch is all about wiring this shit up here to make this a part of who you are. Okay. It's about consistency and how to be like this forever so that you never have these relationship problems again. That's what the idea is. Okay. That book drops a week from today. You finally got her back. The spark's alive again. Or you met someone new and everything feels effortless. Right now, anyway. But deep down, you know, most men lose it right after they win it. They stop setting the tone, start coasting, and attraction slowly dies in silence. That's what kills 90% of relationships: complacency. She doesn't stop loving you overnight. She just stops feeling you. And if you think loyalty alone keeps her interested, you're already slipping. Now that you've turned your relationship around with Get Her to Fuck You Again, or you moved on and found a real contender after Forget That Bitch, you need to know how to keep that attraction burning for the long haul. Introducing the next book in the Red Pill Guide series, Keep Your Bitch, coming this December. It's not about saving failing relationships. It's about never letting one fail again. You'll learn how to lead with frame, maintain polarity, and keep her obsessing over you year after year. Because attraction isn't permanent, it's maintained daily. Stay the man she fell for. Stay the man she can't stop thinking about. Keep Your Bitch. Available this December. You can pre-order it now, the Kindle edition, but otherwise the paperback hardcover drop on Friday, and then the audiobook should drop that following Monday on December 1st, if all goes to plan, because ACX is weird. I don't know, but let's see here. Who's in the chat here? We got brother Ray in the house. He says, good morning, everyone. CW's in the house. He's another Wolfpack brother. He says, made it to the live. Morning, gents and Nurse Chick. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen and guys. Nurse Chick, you guys know Nurse Chick. She gets these sound drops. You know that.
Hold on. So naughty.
Okay, hold on. I got to turn that volume up. I'm gonna come. God, there we go. Hold on. And hold on. There we go.
That pussy must be ridiculous.
It is definitely pussy ridiculous. Eric Von Erich says, good morning. And Kamal says, most people in the 3% group just wanted a quick fix. That's true. And it got to a point, this is kind of funny, but I ended up becoming an admin in the group because I was one of the guys that was consistently doing the work and posting all the fucking time, right? So brother Chris, the guy who started the group, he was like, hey man, you want to be an admin? I was like, sure. And we got to a point where the admins and I, like, we were all getting fucking sick of the guys asking the same stupid fucking questions every week. And we're like, it's in the fucking book. Read the book. And so we created group rules. And the number one rule in the group was you have to have read the book, right? Like, you have to have read the book and don't ask questions if it's in the book, right? You can ask questions about the book if you don't understand what he's talking about, but don't ask a question that's clearly answered in the fucking book. We'll just tell you, we'll refer you back to the fucking book. Well, it got so annoying that the people that were asking the dumb fucking questions would start getting booted. We would start kicking them out of the fucking group. In fact, brother Luke went fucking ham on people, and he was kicking all sorts of people out if they just slightly annoyed him and shit. But it's fucking annoying when the guys in the group, and we're going to talk about it here, but the guys in the group are the ones who are doing the work, have to keep answering the same fucking questions to the guys who clearly aren't doing the work. It's fucking annoying. Okay. Now in Wolfpack, I won't just kick a guy out who's not doing the work. But I will stop answering questions. I will. And I'm in there all the time. You're paying $10 a month. And I am always in there answering guys' questions, helping guys out, giving them tips and stuff, pointing them in the right direction. But if you keep asking the same fucking shit over and over again, I'm just gonna fucking take a step back. You're only paying me $10 a month, man. It's not worth my time to get invested in something you're not willing to do. Okay. But that's, yeah, we'll talk about that more here in a little bit. Nurse Chick says the work never stops. Paul Bauer. Actually, Corey Wayne taught me that, but I appreciate you, babe. She's like, who's Corey Wayne? Fuck that guy. 9-minute mark, my love. Still send super chats. Yes, please do send super chats, guys. Ray says the work never stops equals I have the opportunity to improve myself every day is my favorite takeaway from the podcast with Brother Nathan about, yeah, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. You mean I get to keep getting better? You mean I don't just get stuck in the bull? This is amazing, right? Yeah. Urkin says, good day, folks. Dar Fitness in the house. What's up, brother? Happy Friday, gentlemen. Guys, if you guys are thinking about getting, losing some weight with maybe the keto diet, you don't know where to start, hit up my man, Dar. Okay. In fact, he and I are going to be doing the next pod class for the Wolf Pack here in December. And we're hoping to give guys a clinic on fitness and the ketogenic diet. So that should be a good one for the guys in the pack, especially the guys that need to lose some weight. And there's some of you guys in the pack need to fucking lose some weight. We all do. I will join the pack just to ask the same questions to piss off. Hey man, if you're paying me, fucking whatever. I don't have to answer your questions. That's the beauty of the pack. There's other guys in there that have leveled up. There's guys that are in there doing the work that'll answer questions. I could take a step back from those people. Okay. So your identity gets built by your choices, not your wishes. So the guys who do the work, they end up reshaping themselves from the inside out. Right. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote Psychology Paradigm. When RP Thor got all of us in the manosphere, he invited guys from Fresh and Fit. He invited guys from the old 21 convention. Guys were in that group. He had Rule Zero guys invited. Some guys bowed out. They didn't want to work with other guys because there's a lot of beefs in the manosphere. It's kind of silly. But when Thor came up with the idea of the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series, I was all in. And I was like, I happened to be reading a book from Bob Proctor at the time on paradigms. And I was like, this is where it all begins. It all begins up here. And once you get your mind right, everything else falls into place. That's why I do dedicated Frame Friday episodes every Friday. It's all about working on what's up here. Okay. But the guys who get significant results work on what's up here, and then everything else comes after that. It's the foundation. And that's why I wrote Psychology Paradigm. That's why it's the first book in the Essential Skills series, is because it's the foundation for everything that was supposed to come afterwards. And unfortunately, Thor passed away earlier this year, and I just don't think anyone else is going to write more for that book. But luckily, we did get several books in that series out. The only audiobook versions are of that series are the ones that I did, right? I helped Thor with his second book, the superhero side. So I did the Nurse Chick says she's messaging me. She's saying that the sound drops are hard to hear. I know. I need to turn the volume up on those, babe. Don't be messaging me during the show. Just tell me afterward. Woman. Anyway, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. So Superhero Inside and Psychology Paradigm are the only ones that are available on audio for that. And then Thor's original book, Dominant Masculine Presence, is also available there too. By the way, guys, smashing like is alpha. Okay. All right. So your identity is built by your choices, not your wishes. So the guys that reshape themselves do it from the inside out. And then the guys that just want shortcuts, they stay where they're at. They end up asking the same fucking questions over and over again. They keep getting annoyed by not getting results, but that's because they're not putting the work in. Okay. And every community has lurkers. Every community does. And the fascinating thing about Red Pill, and I sort of learned this hanging out with the Rule Zero guys and talking to Ryan Stone and stuff like that, is like almost everybody in the Red Pill space, everyone that has a podcast has been in some group of some form, right? Like I came out of the 3% man group and we were in there swapping notes, and there's guys in there doing the work, and there's fucking lurkers. Then like Ryan Stone came out of the Married Red Pill subreddit, and there's guys in there doing the fucking work, and they're posting their field reports and stuff like that. And in fact, Ryan's taken a lot of the guys who have done the work and put them in his books. If you read Frame, if you read Dread, if you read his Praxeology Volume 3 field reports, it's literally just dudes' field reports, right? Those are the guys doing the work. The rest of the guys are just in there looking for quick tips and shit, right? Rollo came out of SoSwab, the SoSwab forums, and which is still around. The SoSwab forums are still around. There's guys in there that are doing the work, and they're the ones making the posts and stuff like that, because they're not just making posts to sound cool, they're in there swapping notes with guys. They're doing the fucking work. Okay. But the rest of the guys are in there just reading guys' posts, hoping that they fucking absorb this shit through osmosis. And that doesn't work that way as a lurker. Okay. And then those same lurkers can't figure out why nothing's changing. And then they get mad. They go fucking black pill and they go, oh, women suck. Right. It's like, dude, you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work. You're hoping for fucking magical results. And that just doesn't work that way. Okay. By the way, I've mentioned it several times now, but you guys can support the channel by sending a super chat or two. I've been demonetized from Facebook for well over a month now. It should come back on December 24th, assuming I don't say anything super inflammatory, which I've been trying to tone down my shit on social media, but you never can tell. What Facebook will do to me is fascinating because it's happened before. Like last year, they demonetized me for like 6 months. And I'll have like a big payday, right? Like something will go super viral. I'll get a huge payout in the next month. And then what they'll do is they'll find something that I posted from 2 years ago. And all of a sudden that violates community guidelines. It's like, it's like, I didn't even know I forgot that was there. And you're bringing that shit up and now you're going to demonetize me. It's like they once they pay you out, they're looking for a reason to not pay you next month. It's kind of shitty. So anytime I see someone comment on an old post and I'm like, ooh, that'll get me flagged, I delete them now. I'm just like, fuck, I can't afford this. I can't afford this shit. Anyway, where are we at here? Super chats. Okay. Yeah. So some men refuse to even to read even a basic book. And because of that, they cycle the same questions month after month. I'm not going to name names. I did a whole podcast episode on one about one of the guys in the wolf pack like 2 weeks ago on a Frame Friday. And literally last night, he asked one of the same fucking questions that I answer all the fucking time in the group. I answered it on that podcast. I've done multiple podcasts on this and I'm like, bro, fucking bro. Like Jesus Christ, okay? Like, cause he asked, like, how do you prevent from having resentment and stuff? And I'm like, stop doing covert contracts. The same shit I tell you all the fucking time, because that's what he's doing. He's still doing covert contracts with his wife, and then getting mad when they don't work out. I'm like, you guys stop doing this shit. Start reading the book. I think he might have started reading the book, but he clearly hasn't finished the book. It's fucking annoying. Okay, but he asks the same shit all the time, and yeah. It's annoying. A lot the guys who are doing the work get fucking pissed at this shit. The episode on Wednesday was about a guy who's asked the same shit all the time and he couldn't break up with his girl. And we're like, dude, fucking what books have you read? That's what, if you're in the wolf pack and you're asking questions and someone finally goes, dude, what books have you read? It's because you're clearly not doing the work and you're a lurker. And you're just asking questions, hoping for a quick fix. And that's fine. That's fine if you ask questions as you're doing the work. Like we're happy to help, right? But if you just keep asking the same shit over and over again, we're eventually going to be like, dude, read the fucking books that are in the fucking books, okay? Speaking of Wolfpack, guys, you guys need to get in the Wolfpack, man. We just had our hangout last night. It was a good time. We talked about some of this stuff. It was good. The guys who showed up and swap notes. We had a new guy join last night and he couldn't get his audio right, which was unfortunate because it would have been really cool to hear his story and stuff like that. But get in the group. If you guys have been looking for guys to swap notes with, if you are doing the work and you are reading the books and you're like, man, like I have questions about this stuff, get in the wolf pack. It's only $10 a month. The first 7 days are free. And we have monthly pod classes for the guys that are private. It's just there just to like teach a lesson, whatever. We've had ones on money. We've had ones on like, Bitcoin investing. I've given ones on that sort of thing. This last one, I gave the guys a free taste of the Dread course. And then next month, Brother Dar, who's a physical trainer, he's going to give us a clinic on physical fitness and losing weight with the ketogenic diet and stuff like that. So if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, it's only $10 a month, man. Come run with the wolves, brother.
Beer club? Not anymore.
Wolfpack, you fix what's broken, you lead midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
All right. We got Brother Dar sent a $5 super chat. Have a sugar-free Red Bull on me this weekend. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I will have one, and I'm gonna give him this one.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yeah. Can you guys hear that one? I have the sound turned up for that one. And then Erkin is making jokes. He goes, I don't want to embarrass myself, so I will join Wolfpack only after I read Paul's book so that I don't ask shallow questions. You know what? For that comment, I'm going to give you this one here. Hold on. Let's see here. This one.
You're weak as shit and call yourself an alpha. Like, get fucked.
Yes. All right, man. Okay. You know, one of the things that I teach in the book and on the podcast is this idea of being lovingly detached in a relationship, right? And one of the reasons why we stay lovingly detached is so that we can sort of keep our heads on a swivel and keep an eye on our women's attraction level, for one, and also so that you avoid having these covert contracts. That's how you get rid of like resentment. Because, you know, like I said, the brother in the wolf pack asked, how do you get rid of resentment? Well, part of it is staying lovingly detached, you know, detached from any kind of outcome. If your wife decides to divorce you one day, you're lovingly detached. It's not going to fucking crush you. It's how you don't, you know, fall down in depression and whatever. But you know what? That loving detachment doesn't just show up because you want it. It doesn't. It comes from repetition, from practice, and from rewiring what's up here. That's where it truly comes from. It doesn't just magically show up one day. Okay. And also, one of the things that I also try to teach guys, a part of frame, is having some emotional durability. Well, you're not going to have emotional durability if you don't rewire what's up here. And you're not going to rewire what's up here by tricks and tips and hacks and shit like that. You have to fundamentally rewire subconscious programming. Okay. That's what you have to do in order to develop that emotional durability. And a lot of that kind of stuff comes through adversity and you practicing this stuff in the moment. And a lot of the practicing this stuff in the moment, you know, if you want to do it on a reflex, comes from repetition and having this stuff seep into your subconscious mind. You're not going to get it with quick tips and hacks and Cliff's notes and shit. Okay. You're just not. By the way, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms except for X right now. Fucking banned from X. Dude, like, social media, man. I don't get it. I don't get social media, bro. I'm just gonna sit back here for a minute. And social media makes me want to drink a gallon of whiskey, man. Oh. Because you see certain things, you see certain people post certain things, and you're like, how is this allowed on the platform? Like, there's straight, like Instagram and X both have a lot of racist crap on there. My son the other day showed me a video, goes, Dad, check this out. How is this on TikTok? And it was a video. It was an ad where it was like just a regular thing. And then for a split second, it was a girl finger banging herself, full on nude on TikTok. And he goes, how is this on the platform? And why do you get kicked off for saying the stuff you get, but this is allowed on the platform? I'm like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Right. There's people hating on, you know, our friends in Israel, you know, on X constantly. And like, they're allowed on the platform, but I get booted, you know, for talking about red pill shit. It makes no fucking sense to me, guys. So anyway, get on the email list. Oh, anyway, you know what? It's funny when it comes to this stuff, doing the work. Okay. Guys who want to lose weight, like, and they're serious about it, the guys who want to lose weight and get fit, they fundamentally understand this. They understand that they can't just get a quick tip from TikTok and then all of a sudden be magically buff and lose a bunch of weight. Like, they know that in order to lose the weight and gain muscle mass, they actually have to go to the gym. They actually have to lift up a weight, and they actually have to put in that work consistently over time in order to get there. Now, most guys, a vast majority of guys don't want to even do that. You know what I mean? Like, the idea of losing weight sounds good. The idea of eating better sounds good, but they won't actually go to the gym. You see those types of people for New Year's. In fact, gyms count on this. We were talking about this in the fitness subgroup of Wolfpack. We have all these subgroups, right? We have a fitness subgroup. We have a money and investing subgroup. We have a divorce strategy subgroup now. We have a gratitude practice subgroup now. Just where we can, isolate certain ideas and stuff like that. Well, you'll see one of the brothers in England was posting how he was at a gym during what was supposed to be busy time, and it was fucking dead in there. And I was saying how gyms count on that. Gyms actually do a big marketing push in January for New Year's resolutions type people. And that's where you see all the diet ads really come out of the woodwork, is around, the end of December. And they're pushing for that shit for the gym memberships because they're hoping people sign up for a gym membership and then don't go, right? Because they're still getting your money. And they're counting on that shit, right? Because there's a lot of guys that are like, yep, I'm going to do it. We'll fucking do it. And because they're relying on motivation instead of discipline. And so they're all motivated to do it in January. And you'll see the gyms just fucking packed in January and the first part of February. And then it all fucking goes to hell in a handbasket. People who aren't serious, stop showing up to the gym, right? Those types of people are fucking annoying. Okay. If you're one of those guys right now, I invite you to fucking question your life choices. Stop being that kind of guy. Okay. Most men, one of the fundamental reasons why I wrote Psychology Paradigm is because all of us are operating on internal programming that we never even questioned. Okay. And a lot of us in the red pill space didn't end up here because we were all happy, like something bad happened. And that's usually what it takes. That's usually what it takes to get a guy to snap out of his fundamentally bad programming, is to have something really bad happen. Like, you can go and try to red pill someone, but until they're ready for it, they're not going to want to hear it. Their ego protection layer is going to reject it. This is why, like, most guys are still blue pilled, right? Is because they're still living in this fantasy fairy tale of, like, love and just marry the girl and you live happily ever after. And it's all fucking big Disney fairy tale. Until that comes crashing down, then they're like, what the fuck happened? Then they go seeking answers, right? But even a lot of those guys don't want to do the work. And then they end up in fucking MGTOW and incel communities. And they're like, oh, I just want to protect my peace, bro. And because they don't want to fundamentally do the work. And the juice isn't worth the squeeze is what they delude themselves with, as why they shouldn't have to do the work. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but they're still running on old internal programming, and they're not even actively wanting to try to change that sort of thing. That's where the black pillars come in, is because they might start doing the work and then they start understanding what females' nature really is. And because it doesn't align with their blue-pilled idealism, they get fucking pissed at women, and then they go black pill and start hating women for their very nature, right? Which women can't even help. They were wired that way through evolution. Like, they can't even help it. Okay, so you're going to be mad at them for it? Getting mad at women for that sort of thing is like being mad at a Ferrari for not having the tow capacity of a Ford F-250 or whatever. You know what I mean? It's fucking stupid. Another way you guys could do the work if you're not big into reading, because a lot of guys aren't. Like, some guys are like, man, I just can't sit down and read a book. And I'm just not, I just can't learn from listening. That's why I also make courses. Okay. If you're having problems in your relationship right now and you're more visually stimulated, I have courses available. They're about as long as a book, but they're harder to produce. So I charge a little bit more for them. But if that's you, if that's how you learn, great. Take the course then. Okay. Watch video. There's 5 hours of videos in the Passive Dread Blueprint. And then on top of that, there's workbooks. Just do that on repeat. That's the same. That's doing the work. Okay. Taking a course, doing that on repeat, doing the workbooks. That's doing the work. Okay. If that's what will help you, do that. All right. That's fine too. Quick answers never solve deep problems. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this a little at the beginning. If we only retain 10% of what we read or listen to or watch, the quick stuff's never going to seep in. It's never going to solve those deep-seated problems. Okay. You the only way to unfuck yourself is by actually taking some effort and doing this sort of stuff. And a lot of guys avoid this stuff because it threatens their ego, right? Staying comfortable in their misery. They'd much rather just sit there in their misery and you know, get mad at the results and stay miserable and instead of doing the work. You know what I mean? But the men who stay consistent with the stuff, they eventually rewire what's up here. And once they rewire what's up here, everything else becomes habit, and they do it without even thinking about it. Then that's when you start seeing effortless relationships. Okay. If you want an effortless relationship, it starts up here. I say that a lot. A lot of these guys are like, oh, I just want to protect my peace, so I'm just not going to deal with women. Like, dealing with women or not dealing with women is not where peace comes from. Peace comes from up here. It fundamentally comes from your own mindset about things. That's where true peace comes from. Because there's going to be shit out that don't even involve women that's going to upset your peace throughout the day. It's one of the things I talk about in Keep Your Bitch. I talk about life's challenges. Okay, because that's a big thing. What guys complain that, you know, when you lose your job, women are going to leave you or whatever. It's like, I talk about that. I talk about that in the book, about how different things are going to show up in life. You're going to have kids, you're going to have career changes, you're going to have people fucking dying on you and stuff like that. Working on what's up here will protect your peace from all of that. That's why I start off the show saying, understanding what, you know, I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives when you do the work. Because when you do the work to understand like how to handle women's shit tests and have strong mental frame to handle women, it carries over into the gym, carries over into the fucking business life. It carries into like when you have, you know, shit happens. One of the things I talk about in the book, luckily I was in the process of writing the book when it happened, but I got fucking laid off from my IT career of 20 years, right? I didn't even bat an eye. I was like, oh, thank you. Like, that's actually great. This is wonderful. I can actually pursue my dream career of being a professional content creator. This is wonderful. Thank you very much. Right. Wasn't even pissed about it. Okay. But that's because I developed the mindset and I've actually like set up my life in a way where I can deal with that kind of shit. Okay. But that's because I fucking did the work. You know, I didn't just do the work on leveling up and get better with women. I got leveled up and got better with my money and investing. I got out of debt. I did all that kind of shit by doing the work. Like I've read Total Money Makeover a couple times. I've read Money Mastering the Game. I read a whole bunch of books on financial investments, stuff like that, to fundamentally learn this shit. And then I went out and practiced it. And that's the big thing, because a lot of guys sometimes they might read one book and then think they got it, and then they fucking put it down and go about their lives. Like they've only retained 10% of it, and they haven't fucking learned anything, and they haven't gone out and seriously practiced it. You know what I mean? They're not really doing the work by just doing that. Women absolutely recognize this stuff immediately, right? When the guys who are truly doing this stuff, the guys who are truly reading Get Her to Fuck You Again on repeat, are seeing fundamental changes in their relationships. Fundamental changes. All right. And I hear it from guys all the time. They'll DM me on Instagram. Guys in the Wolf Pack will private message me and tell me this stuff. They're like, dude, my wife is like a totally different person once I worked on myself. It's like, yeah, that's how it works, man. They notice the changes and they're like, what is going on with this guy? Like, I like it. And then they start relaxing in their feminine. They stop challenging them as much. And they're like, oh, this is amazing. Okay. But those are the guys that are fundamentally doing this stuff, and women really see it. They can see it, you know, because you're carrying yourself differently. When a man trains his mind and body, something interesting happens. Okay. A lot of guys deal with like anxiety issues. A lot of guys deal with depression, all that kind of stuff. When you stop, when you get out of your own head and stop, you know, dwelling on the past, that's what causes depression. And like, worrying about what might happen in the future, and you're focusing on the present and working on going to the gym, just focusing on the process, right? Listening to audiobooks, working on this stuff. You don't have time to think about all the bad shit. You're working on yourself. That like eliminates a lot of these like anxiety and depression problems. One of the things I posted yesterday on social media was going to therapy is really just talking to a liberal until you agree with them. For men, that's what going to therapy is talking to a liberal until you agree with them. And I was like, there's a better way of doing it. There's a better way. Join the wolf pack. Join the wolf pack, man. Okay. I've watched men in my community transform their entire lives because they committed to the process, right? Brother David, I talk about him a lot in the podcast. That guy was in a dead bedroom for like 13 years. He was massively overweight. I think the heaviest he got was 300, pushing 400 pounds or something like that. He had kidney problems. Those kidney problems, he had to have a kidney transplant. That turned into erectile dysfunction problems. He had a lot of resentment for his wife because of the dead bedroom situation, which was all compounded by his medical problems. He joined the pack. He started working on losing weight, and all he did was go for a walk every day. And he lost a fuck ton of weight. He's off of all of his diabetes medication because he was a type 2 diabetic because of his weight issues. He lost all that shit. He's in the best relationship ever with his wife, better than when he first married her. He talks about, he's like, it's fundamentally changed my life doing this stuff, reading the books on repeat and going out there and losing the weight and doing the work and having the brothers in the pack hold me accountable. It's fundamentally changed this man's life. Okay. That's what it looks like. And it's not even that hard. It's not even that like I said, you can just listen to an audiobook for, $15 a month, get an Audible subscription. You can listen to my books for free. Okay. It's just part of the subscription. If you don't want to pay the subscription, you just want to get one of my books, then it's like $15 for the book or something. Right. And then you just listen to it on repeat. It's effortless. When you're in the car, when you're at the gym, when you're going for a walk, you just listen to this shit. Brother Omega, he's a software developer. So he just sits all day just coding. He has his earbuds in and he just listens to the books while he's coding, and it's fundamentally changing his life. He's cured himself of type 2 diabetes. His A1C has been at a healthy level for over a year now because he's done the work, he's lost the weight, and he's just put the work in, right? Fundamentally changing lives. No big deal. We're just changing lives, in the wolf pack. No big deal. I was joking with Nurse Chick about it last night because one of the brothers in the wolf pack, he's on his, he came to the pack. His wife straight up told him that she's not interested in him anymore. And she's actually entertaining other guys on like Snapchat and stuff like that. And she was going to go meet a guy in another city. Straight up told him that shit. Right. And he, we all have choices to make in life. When he joined the pack and he told us that, I was like, brother, are you sure you want to work on this, man? Like it's typically when a woman's at that level, her hypergamous nature is already seeing you as not as a weak guy who's not her best possible option. Her hypergamy and her evolutionary selfishness is kicking in, and she's looking for a better option. You're probably barking up the wrong tree. Well, he reported in the pack that he's done 2 passes of Get Her to Fuck You Again already. He's doing the workbook. And his wife is already seeing changes in him. And so now she's inspired to read Nurse Chick's book. And he said, we had the most passionate sex last night in 14 years. And it's amazing, right? Just that stuff is like, we're changing lives here. I took a screenshot of it. I left the guy's name out of it, but I took a screenshot of it. I posted on social media yesterday, but I also sent it directly to Nurse Chick. And I said, oh, we're just changing lives over here, babe. No big deal, right? It's amazing. This stuff's amazing. Okay. Now, whether that's going to work out for him, who knows? It might. There's stories in Ryan Stone's book where that happened, where there was infidelity and the guys started implementing dread and the women came back around and started seeing their husbands as the best possible option. Right. So it could work. It could work. And it really just depends on what you want as a man. You have to make your own choices for that. Okay. Red pill is about doing what's best for you, what you think is best for you, being your own mental point of origin. For some guys, keeping their marriage intact and forgiving the infidelity or even the attempts at infidelity, that to them, that's more important to them. So whatever. Okay. No judgment. At the end of the day, every man chooses who he becomes. Okay. You either build yourself up step by step or you stay in a loop of searching for quick fixes. One path demands a little bit of effort and pays you back in dividends. The other path demands nothing and you end up paying in regret. Okay. So the choice at the end of the day is yours, but I would invite you to make a better choice and put the work in. And the work isn't even that hard. It's just repetition and discipline. Okay. It's not even that hard. Not even that hard, really. That's all I got, guys. Let's see. What do we have here in the chat? Dar says, get in the wolf pack. Goddamn right. Too sweet. And CW says, get in it, gents. Damn right. Erkin says, herd mentality is for whamming. Ray Leyland sent a $10 super chat. The actionable information in this episode and the mail call episode last evening are valuable enough to warrant multiple viewings. They help tie together the source material and sidebar. Yeah. And that's, and honestly, the podcast itself, if you just tune into like one episode, it's kind of like a chapter in a book, right? You're not gonna fundamentally change your life. If you listen to multiple episodes, you will eventually get everything that I talk about in my books. So yeah, I mean, you could do that too. If you prefer podcasts and you like listen to me run my mouth, then listening to all the podcasts, going back to the archives and listening to multiple stuff, that will actually help you out. That's a part of doing the work too. Some of the guys at Wolfpack though that are asking the same fucking questions, I'm like, tell me you haven't tuned into a fucking episode. Like just how did you even find the pack? You know what I mean? Like how'd you get here? Because you clearly don't even listen to the podcast, man. Like some of that stuff is fucking annoying. But Brother Leyland, he gets this one here.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Absolutely. Could you guys hear that one? Okay. Let me know if you guys could hear that one. I have it tuned up as far as it'll go. Let's see here. This guy said, I can't, JH, I can't really see people's names anymore. I don't know what YouTube did, but it shows people's @ handles. And a lot of people have weird @ handles on YouTube. But he says, there was a guy on Fresh and Fit that is a looks maxer who was tearing into women for their looks. I thought the women were right about him knowing more about skincare and looks than him. Oh, well, really? I don't tune into Fresh and Fit. That show's garbage. What are your thoughts? That show's garbage. Fresh and Fit, it to me is like the Jerry Springer of the red pill. Fresh and Fit, whatever podcast, it's all there to just debate women. They're master debaters, and they debate women, but they're not really giving the guys a lot of actionable information that's useful. You know what I mean? So they get a lot of views because it's a lot of rage bait engagement, but they're not giving you any actionable information. So a lot of guys tune into that shit, and then they just see these trash women, and they pull the trashiest of trash bitches out of there, right? All these 304s, all these OnlyFans models and stuff like that. And then they'll rage super chat the show, be like, thanks for holding this woman accountable. Here's $100 super chat or whatever. And it's like, for what? And those women, after those shows, they end up getting, 100 new subscribers. And so they're like, who's really winning? The fucking women on the show, right? So it's a waste of guys' time to tune into that stuff. Hopefully, guys, go to that stuff and then seek better answers. That's how people typically find this show, is like the Rollo Ryan funnel, right? Rollo, the Ryan Stone. Ryan's kind of like getting out of the red pill space. He's sort of slowly pivoting towards fiction books, and that's what Ryan's starting to do. So I think a lot of people are gravitating over here, where I'm still keeping the relationship type red pill content alive. You know what I mean? Shortcuts are not really short. They are not. Shortcuts for most guys end up keeping you stuck in a place for way longer than you need to. You know what I mean? Same thing with people trying to take shortcuts with weight loss. You know what I mean? Like to fundamentally change your weight and not gain it all back later, is you have to change your mindset about it and do the work and actually start working out. And Ozempic and all that kind of stuff's nice, but it's not rewiring what's up here. It's not changing your like food addictions and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, shortcuts, they end up making things more difficult. Judge Million, did you guys, any of you guys used to tune into the People's Court? I used to watch that years ago. My ex-wife fucking was addicted to that show, so we used to watch it a lot. And Judge Million was hilarious. She used to say the cheap comes out expensive, right? Well, the same thing comes with like shortcuts, right? The shortcuts end up taking longer. So there's no shortcuts. You got to do the work. If you want results. If you don't want results and you just want to fucking annoy the shit out of everybody, then by all means keep just lurking or whatever. All right, guys, that's all I got. I'm done lecturing everybody. Tune into the podcast on Monday. We're going to talk about why communication breakdown happens in a relationship. A lot of you guys are constantly sticking your foot in your mouths and you don't even realize it. So we're going to break that all down on Monday because, communication is the key to a healthy relationship, right? It is not the key to a healthy relationship, but it is the key to conflict resolution, which a lot of relationships do end up with a lot of conflict. But once you learn how to handle it, it stops being a conflict. It ends up being a very smooth thing that's effortless. But that all comes from doing the fucking work. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all I got. We'll see you guys on Monday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.